Guys, surprise livery dump! I did not expect McLaren to do that. My goodness. They are absolute mavericks. Whatever it takes. Whatever did it mean to actually be patient, McLaren? So McLaren were the first team to introduce their livery for 2024. That's important to remember, folks. They are introducing the livery, not the car. I think that's going to become a very big running trend throughout the 2024 launch season. They're not going to reveal the cars, they're going to reveal what they will look like. Because we can look at the pretty colors instead of realizing that, ooh, that's an interesting looking wing. No, they're going to be probably using their 2023 cars or the F1 show cars and then just show, ooh, look at the pretty lines and what they do. Well, what's interesting with McLaren is that they've got a little bit of history with all of these little tweaks and elements that they managed to actually almost test run throughout 2023. According to their press release, no, the colors aren't orange and black. According to McLaren, they're papaya and anthracite. Ooh, fancy colors. I should have seen this coming because according to all of the McLaren social media outlets, they introduced the 1601 motif. I thought it was just going to be the introduction of their 2024 ad campaign, whatever they were going to do. That whatever it takes video, that promotional thing that they introduced, that was very spicy, that was very nice, but I didn't think much else of it. It's just, oh, okay, they're just doing the whole thing of archiving all the Instagram posts to just initialize a brand new era of McLaren. No, it actually was a case of them putting it where their mouth was, and we got a livery. And I gotta tell you, it's pretty striking. One most important thing, that baby blue, that's gone. That is completely gone. Because I had an idea about what it might look like with the Formula E car, their livery in particular. That didn't really show that much blue. So therefore, I was thinking maybe they might be just reducing the blue. No, they got rid of the blue entirely. There is no hint of blue on the car. And instead, what we've got is some chrome. Because throughout the entire press release that McLaren introduced, they were actually pointing out various bits and pieces from all of the special liveries that they introduced in 2023, and which parts of those liveries were included in some shape or form in regards to the overall 2024 package. Again, this isn't the 2024 MCL38, it's the MCL60 with a different paint job, which isn't really much of a surprise considering how many costume changes that car had in 2023. But the most important details that they really wanted to point out were the introduction of chrome numbers. And the number font is completely different to what we've seen for the last couple of years. It's all digitally. Ooh, fancy. It's very, very sharp, very, very pointy, because the car is looking much pointier than it did a couple of years ago. With Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri piloting this is going to be very, very interesting. It looks dangerous. And one of the biggest inclusions is from the stealth mode livery from Singapore and Japan. The fact is that OKX has more of a feature on this livery, and the Velo, the British American Tobacco Association, that's sort of been relegated to little bits and pieces, smaller features, which probably will be a little bit less problematic and they won't have to change it quite so much, or it won't be as prominent. So I guess OKX has actually managed to get itself more of a foothold in terms of what you can expect from McLaren. Who knows, we might get OKX McLaren Formula 1 team or something. But one little thing I think has actually managed to get onto the car that I don't think they really talked about was the inclusion of the triple crown motif at the back. So that little bit extra papaya, that little bit of a slash, that is now on there as well from what we saw from Spain and Monaco, which was a nice touch, which is something I'm really starting to see more of on this McLaren livery the more I look at it. It's steeped in history, but it's subtle. It's also modern, because we've got that little feature on the monocoque and the nose cone from the last couple of years. We've got that little bit of the triple crown motif. We've got the chrome from the chrome era of McLaren, but it's been relegated to the number. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see that come back, a whole chrome thing where the black is for the Silverstone Grand Prix. So the British Grand Prix, we might get a chrome reunion or something like that. A one-off situation where Google then just give them free reign to bring the chrome back because it was just so popular. And to have that with no hint of blue getting in the way. But you want to know something that I think is missing? The Monster logo, because McLaren and Monster are now sponsors, and you would think that they would have featured on the car in some way. Now, this might mean that it might be just that little bit subtle, that it might be just on the driver helmets and the racing overalls. So we're not going to be seeing the monster logo anywhere on the McLaren car. But come on, papaya and anthracite. Do me one. It's orange and black, really. But hey, I'm a McLaren fan, so hey, all right, it's papaya. But it's still really, really intriguing as to why there's no monster sponsor on there, and McLaren have been gathering sponsors by the wazoo load. Like, seriously, it's crazy. But this is a really, really ballsy way of introducing the livery, because everyone was expecting McLaren to introduce it around about Valentine's Day. That was what the rumours were saying, but now they just dumped it for the world to see on the 16th of January, the only team to get their livery out in January. Yeah, expect that to change. I wouldn't be surprised if we get one of those teams moving their livery launch back a couple of weeks to try and get in on all the hype, because nobody was expecting a January launch for a livery. My goodness me, that was crazy. But from what I can see right here, I do like the livery, and I am glad that the blue is no longer there. That is quite menacing and ominous, and sorry, it's not anthracite. It makes it sound really posh, doesn't it? Oh yeah. Oh, my livery, it has a taste of papaya and anthracite. Oh yes, I'm so debonair. But I really kinda like this in a way. I wasn't really a big fan of the stealth mode livery that we saw in the Asian races, but nevertheless, I am quite pleased to see some sort of different direction, that we don't have a mostly orange side pod, that it is sort of orange, black, orange. It's like some sort of anthracite sandwich or something with papaya tones to it. But I am kind of confused with the chrome numbering scheme. I think that's going to get lost in quite a few races where it's just going to shine and it's going to just jar out the cameras. Like, oh my god, they're at the front, but I can't see the number. That is also just really gutsy, and the font, it's cool and all, but I don't know. It's interesting. I like it. It's certainly different from what we've seen the last couple of years, because the McLaren liveries for the last couple of years just looked really bulky and ungainly and just, it was just off in a way. I mean, of course, when it was successful, it didn't really matter what it looked like. It was fast. That's what really mattered. But this livery does look fast. It does look interesting, and it is an improvement from what we've seen from McLaren over the last couple of years. But again, I really was not expecting to make my first livery launch video in January, because everyone else, they released all of their stuff. The next one was going to be Alpine on the 7th of February or something, but nope, McLaren decided to be interesting, whatever it took. So I think they're starting as they meant to go on. So that was pretty crazy. And do you want to actually remember the time when they dropped the chrome livery and my initial reaction to it? Well, you can go back and relive that moment in this video next, and relive the moment when McLaren started to get really good.